Hey folks, welcome back to another HP Gaming GameLINK video. Today we are going to be doing something a little bit extra special for you. I know I say that all the time, but this time I really mean it. We're going to be having a look at our spell boards. We're going to be crafting decks of cards and taking the fight to other Phoenixborns as we talk all things Ashes Reborn. Hey folks, welcome back. As you should know by now, my name is Matt and thank you for joining me once again for another HP Gaming GameLINK video. Today we are going to be doing a buyer's guide slash unboxing of the recently re-released Ashes Reborn Rise of the Phoenixborn. Now this is a card dueler for 2 players. We're going to explore the master set and show you what's inside there. Then we're going to talk about things you should buy. Ashes is a game that has been around before, recently released, I think originally released in 2015, correct me if I'm wrong, by Plaid Hat Games. It's a game by Isaac Vega. It is a card drafter with a dice dueling mechanic for resource generation, all sorts of other goodies as well. I will talk through the gameplay and how it works out as we go through this master set of the Ashes Reborn re-release. And for those of you that are interested in Ashes, we've got a bit of a buyer's guide that follows this as well. If you don't want to know the contents and you want to jump straight to the buyer's guide, you'll be able to do that. Just check the description of the video below and you'll be able to jump straight into the action. Very excited to get into this and start crafting some decks and see what the contents are of this box. Yeah, without further ado, we'll get down at the table and we'll have a look. All right, so here we are. This is the master set for Ashes Reborn, Rise of the Phoenixborn. This has got all sorts of goodies. It's got 6 different heroes or gods, for lack of a better term, that you can choose from, and lots of deck construction options. But we'll get into that and show you what it's all about. You can see here the different Phoenixborn that are on the side here. 2 to 4 players because you can play in a team game setup. There's different rules in here, different ways to play. I think you can even do a drafting option to have as many as 6 players in tournament play if you want to as well, which is awesome. It's a great way to obviously get everyone together, get everyone playing nice and quickly. Now this is, as I said, a dice card battler. I think best to be played with 2 players, but at the same time, obviously, if you've got a lot of people who want to get involved and construct decks and things, then obviously you've got the option to draft with those folks as well. For those of you who watched the series before, plastic always goes on the floor. Let's get this sucker open. So this is recently released. It's only just come out here in Australia, and I believe it's delayed in the rest of the world. Just a moment though, before we go any further, look at that art. Look at that, isn't that sick? So good, so good. All right, let's have a look and see what's in the box. We're gonna have things like punch out tokens and everything else, which is pretty straightforward. And then what we're all here for, the cards, and of course, all of the dice that are involved, and baggies to keep tokens and things separated. Big tick, big thumbs up, we love that. Okay, let's have a look and see the tokens, and there's also a first player marker here as well. Gosh, that was really loud, sorry everybody. Get rid of the plastic, we don't need that here. Now here's a rulebook here. The rulebook is great, and it is 1.5 as you can see there. Great artwork on the rulebook, but you can see here there is a bit of video to see how it all works, and sometimes a video is a better explanation of the rules. A bit of lore there for the game as well. Breakdowns of the Phoenixborn cards and then the unit cards as well. Talks about your battlefield and your spell board as well. And all sorts of other bells and whistles there too. You can see here different main actions, side actions, card types and breakdowns as well, which is fantastic. There's lots to see and do and get through, which is fantastic as well. But I'll let you discover those on your own. The tokens are pretty straightforward. We're going to punch out those nice and thick, nice and durable, which is great. These are damage counters, which are, again, sort of stock standard, but still quite nice. They've got it double-sided. That's actually quite clever. So you've got 1 on one side and 5 on the other. So rather than having huge amounts of tokens, there you go, 1 and 3. And I think on the back, yeah, 5 3s, and then you've got your exhausted tokens. So the blue ones here basically mark cards as exhausted and not ready to use, which is great. The dice, oh my goodness, the dice, so many dice. So the dice represent different abilities and faiths that the Phoenixborns use, and there is a ton of these. So some of the Phoenixborn will just use a set of dice, so 10 dice per Phoenixborn, all of one color. You can see here they're all engraved, which we love, as opposed to just screen printed, which is awesome. And of course they work. But some Phoenixborn will actually mix them up. So they may have 5 of these die and then 5 of these die to make their own resource pool for different things. And the dies have different symbols depending on the different Phoenixborn abilities, which is awesome. And there is a ton of these dice. We'll talk about the expansions, the deluxe expansions later on that bring in new dice pools for you. But again, this is not really what we're here for. We're here at the moment to go through the card decks and give you an idea. Now, looking at this, you've already got pre-constructed decks in place. So there's 6 different pre-constructed decks that are available in this set. But you don't have to use those existing decks. You can mix and match the cards as well. So a lot of customization right out of the box, which I think is awesome. And it's a really good way to sort of get into Ashes without having to spend too much money on other decks and customizations. Obviously, it's an expandable card game, so it's definitely something you can do. But yeah, we'll make it work one way or the other. Okay, so let's have a look here. We've got Adriel Summerguard, who's a Phoenixborn of Evermist Valley. She has health of 16. Now, these are similar cards to the original set. Obviously, they've been updated for the base game. And I like the fact that the card reverse side has just the art on its own and no text, which is awesome. I'm going to fling through these. If you want to, you can pause the video to have a look at the cards in more detail. Obviously, we're shooting in high def, so you can see all the different cards here. Now these are the backs, the black backs are conjurations, and then the white cards will be normal dex cards that you can use during play. So you can summon cards from your conjuration deck during the course of the game using your actions and your side actions. And that's one of the main reasons you would want to, one of the main ways to do damage, I should say, is by bringing conjurations into play. But you've only got a limited number of items you can bring into your battlefield, depending on the Phoenixborn that you choose. So you've got different spells here as well. Mist Typhoon, again, the artwork's fantastic, really heavily detailed. Some flavor text on the cards too, which is nice. Blue Jaguars, massive growth. So these decks are probably pretty evenly balanced, I would say, but they would play very differently. You've got the card costs here for main actions and side actions, as well as the different die costs that you need to roll as well. That's Aradel. Let's have a look at Saria. If I can get through the plastic on these ones. There is a lot of plastic to get through today. All right. Saria Guideman, Lighthouse Bay Phoenixborn. She has 20 health points. There's the artwork on its own there. The artwork's a really interesting design. They've sort of focused on the characters and not so much the background art, which I think is really nice. It has a nice, it lends itself to a really nice focus on the actual subject matter of the card rather than, you know, the backgrounds and the detail of the card itself. You've got a 3-eyed owl, purge spells, abundance, enchanted violinist. I mean, why not? A Rose Fire Dancer, and then hidden powers, which cause you to discard cards, sympathy, pain, seal, strange copy. Very, very cool. We'll leave Cole until the end, only because his cards pack is a bit larger. Okay, what I might do is just show you these ones here. That's this is Mayoni Viper. Mayoni Viper, there's her artwork there. Cool staff. Nice back tat as well, which is awesome. Now, for someone who hasn't played Ashes before myself, I'm really excited to get into it. Oh, that's very cool. Only because I've heard so much about it, I missed it last time. But then obviously since then, I've opened a game store and have caught up with the gaming industry as a whole. So we're now stocking or games, I should say, that people are after. And I have to tell you that our pre-orders for this one have been huge, and we have a limited quantity left. Also, the Breaker of Fate Deluxe expansion is one of the only parts or components that hasn't arrived at the distribution warehouse at the moment. So everything else is in stock and ready to ship, or at least was. Some of it's already shipped out to respective players, but we still have some of the expansions and the single decks available, so you can jump on board and grab some, along with a copy of the master set, which we're going through now, if you wish. Well, that's a bit ominous, which I like as well. Change 3 dice in your active pool to a side of your choice, which is very cool. I find that the gameplay in Ashes, again, not having played a huge amount or understood not played proper tournament play and things like that, I find the game quite reactive, meaning that you will have the best laid plans, but during your best laid plans, Jessa Nani, serious business here, bit of voodoo action. The best laid plans of what you've got in play will be changed by your opponent and their actions and the things they do. So you're constantly trying to work out a plan of attack, but also reacting to what is played against you. Cut the strings. Wow, serious business. I like the fact that it's faded out of focus, which is awesome. A living doll. That is quite creepy and awesome at the same time. Blood Shaman. He's got his mouth closed over as well, which is kind of sick. Blood Archers. Wow. Wow. I can see I'm going to want to take Jessa for a spin. Goodness gracious me. Serious business, quite nasty. I love it. But yeah, that reaction play style and having to sort of react accordingly to the actions of your opponent, I think is really, it's reminiscent of Destiny, Star Wars Destiny, which I liked as well. But I think, I don't know, there's something about the Star Wars universe versus an IP that is still relatively new and can be, you know, a little bit darker than some of the other stuff we've seen in Star Wars, which I really like. Noah Red Moon, Phoenixborn of Viras. And you can see here, there's his alternate artwork card sort of fading through the mist. Looks like he's all about illusion magic or something similar. And the different dice reference different styles of play, different elements as well. Master Wolf's quite cool. The artwork's there is really nice. A false demon of summoning. There he is. Ooh. Wouldn't want to meet that in a dark alley. And you've got here the attack strength, the life, recover values, small sacrificing, a Stormwind Sniper, that guy means business. And then you've got, you can summon sleeping widow spiders, ouch. And they're coming out of a dead horse or a dead wolf, that is pretty nasty. There it is, sleeping widow. So it's like a conjuration without actually having, it's a reactive spell. Wow, that's cool. So it's actually something you pull out of your conjuration deck, but you don't actually have to have something on your spell board necessarily, which is quite cool. Fading away. Artworks galore. I love the art. It's so good. Bounce Soul. Sleight of Hand. Shadow Strike. Resummon. It's a ready spell. Destroy a conjuration you control, then place that conjuration into your battlefield. So if you had something that was on low health, you could bring it back in full strength in one fell swoop, which I love. All right, Cole, let's see what you're bringing to the table. Now, I think Cole's pack also has some reference cards as well. So we might just see if we can separate that out. We'll come back to those. There he is. Cole Rawquin, a Phoenixborn of Rustwatch. He looks a little bit like Geralt. Bit of a Witcher vibe coming off him, which is fine. So you can see here we've got 100 Blades, which is an action spell. And then you've got Chant of Revenge. Expanding spell, expand energy, I should say. So this is originally a Plaid Hat Games, Isaac Vega production, but then Team Covenant over in the States got behind it and basically said commission Plaid Hat Games to do another smaller run if they had so many pre-orders. They had a threshold to meet, and they absolutely smashed it. There's a lot of love for this game. A lot of people were discovering it after it was out of print. Iron Rhino, wow. Speaking of meeting things in a dark alley, geez. Anchornaut. It was just having that much love for a game that was, effectively out of print. And then, bringing it back in and being successful in their campaign means that we get to look at all these gorgeous cards and play some amazing games as well. Which I feel is just, it's fantastic. Now we're going to have a look at the reference cards and things as well, just to give you a bit of an overview of how it works. So you've got phases of play, prepare, player turns, and then recovery. And they're double-sided, obviously, which is fine. And then you've got the different magic reference cards. So you'll take one of these, depending on your Phoenixborn, have your active dice pool and your exhausted dice pool. So ceremonial magic. And then you've got natural magic, which is the blue, illusion magic, which is purple, charm magic, which are these orangey pink ones. And then on the backs, you've got more charm magic, illusion, natural, so they're double-sided as well, which is very cool. So you can use those across the board. And that's it for the contents of the Master Set. It doesn't sound like a lot because it's literally 6 decks of cards and dice. However, the customization options, you can literally split apart these decks and use these cards in amongst all the different Phoenixborn. So you can craft decks or expand the game with different cards and different additions to rebuild new decks for your heroes, which I really love. So we're going to come back out and we'll take you through some of the other components and aspects of Ashes Reborn. So there you have it, the unboxing of the Phoenixborn Master Set, Ashes Reborn, I should say. Lots of content. I know it doesn't look like it. Obviously, I've got other bits and pieces that are still in the box here, but there is a complete customization for and drafting for up to 6 players effectively if you were doing a 6-person tournament, which is awesome. The first 5 rule is great. I haven't mentioned that yet. Basically, you construct a deck, and the first turn of the game, it's not draw and then hope for the best. You pick your favorite 5 cards, and you start the game with those in hand. So if you haven't... in Marvel Champions, for example, you draw that 5 cards and you go, oh, damn, I don't have anything I want to scrap those cards and go again. Here, you get to pick the 5 cards you want to start with, and that allows for some crazy options because you're going to come out swinging right off the bat. And again, you've got to then think strategy. Okay, do I want to do massive attacks first, or do I want to set myself up for defense and give myself something to, effectively turtle it in and steamroll over people? The fact that you've got different dice, and again, the dice rolling component, that scares me because my dice rolling is usually pretty rubbish, as Charlotte will tell you. So being able to roll dice and then use those for different resources, I think is very cool as well. It's an interesting mechanic that I can't wait to get to the table and have a couple of matches. But if I was to get into Ashes and I wanted something beyond the core box, where would I go from there? What would I need, Matt? Tell me, how do I get involved with this game? First of all, before we talk about what you need, I mean, if you're like me, you need everything, but in terms of about what you need, we'll talk about the different products that are available first. Now, if you are, first and foremost, if you are not new to Ashes, if you are a veteran, then one of the things that you probably want to need is one of these. An upgrade kit. Now this is 1.5 Ashes Reborn, and it has about 350 odd cards, I think, that update the existing sets that you have. So whether you keep those for prosperity or throw them in the bin or use them as fodder, I don't know, that's entirely up to you. I'm not the boss of you. These cards in here will update those cards you already have, replacing them for the games, for tournament play as well. Updated rules, streamlining things, and also explaining how the game works in a little bit of better detail, based on the new mechanics and redevelopment of the core game. Which is awesome. So that one is there purely for those who are purists who already have Ashes collections at home. And that is pretty much all you would need if you had a decent Ashes collection. But that's, again, one of those things that you would get if you had an Ashes collection to begin with. If you're new to Ashes and you're looking to go beyond the core set, there's also the deluxe expansions. I have 2 of them here. Lore of the Lions and Songs of Soaksend. The 3rd deluxe expansion, Breaker of Fate, is currently not available here in Australia as far as I'm aware. I know our distributors haven't got their hands on it yet, but when they do, we will be shipping it like crazy, and we are already nearly 100% pre-sold on Breaker of Fate. So if you want a copy of that one, it seems to be the most popular. I'm not sure why. Get on board and order a copy at the website as soon as you can. Now, the deluxe expansions don't just come with a new deck and a new Phoenixborn and a whole new wealth of deck building options for your Phoenixborn decks. It also comes with a deck box and also a new set of 10 dice in different styles of Magic. I think the Lions one is time dice, so time manipulation. This one here is, what's the dice in this one? Magic, sympathy magic. So healing, things like that, different aspects as well. Songs of Soaksend and Lore of the Lions, or Lore of Lions, I should say, add a full deck, full Phoenixborn, also the new dice mechanics, which are important when you get into the next component of what you can get, which is, excuse me, our little friends over here. And these are the little expansion decks. So these are Phoenixborn decks for individual Phoenixborn. Which sounds like a much cheaper option than buying a full deluxe expansion. However, you need to be careful, and here's why. You can go and purchase an Ashes Reborn expansion deck and then use all the components from a master set to customize that to your liking. However, you need to be aware, because some of them, like this one here, Grave King, require dice from one of the deluxe expansions. So if you don't have the deluxe expansions and you go out and buy Grave King, you're going to be in a world of hurt because you will not have the dice that are required to build this deck and use it in play. Grave King, I think, uses the dice that are from the Song of Soaksend or Breaker of Fate, one of them. So you would need 5 dice from that one plus 5 dice from the base set to be able to use Grave King in play. So be aware of that. Most of the descriptions on the website will tell you what style of magic they need and hence the dice that are required for play. But before you go charging in ahead, make sure you check that out, because the last thing you want to do is get a deck of cards you can't use. The other option is that you literally just get everything, one of the expansions, and then you'll have enough dice to cover all of the different expansion decks that are available to date. Okay, so that covers roughly the different products that are available at this stage. The different expansion decks add a wealth of different replayability, obviously lots more customization options as well, which is great and we love it. But I think the deluxe components, for me, having the deck boxes as an option is quite cool. The 1.5 upgrade kit is pretty much the only thing you'd need if you already have some Ashes stuff at home lying around. That's where you're at. However, if you're new to Ashes and you want to sort of, dip your toe in the water, this is the way to go. Getting a master set gives you 6 Phoenixborn to play with, a wealth of deck building options, a ton of dice to use, all the counters you'd need as well, so you don't have to find your own counters and ways to track things if you're just buying, 1 or 2 of the expansion decks for your set, or just this one here. Mind you, if you're buying this one, you've already got a set, chances are you've already got tokens at home anyway. For me, if I'm going all in on a master set here, eventually that's not going to be enough for me, so I'm going to want to delve into either mini expansion decks. Duchess of Deception here uses dice that are from the master set, so this one will be fine. Then of course, you go into the deluxe expansions to really pack out your deck building options as well. The instruction booklet for the master set actually gives you some recommended first 5s to choose from for the different Phoenixborns as well, so it would help you get into the game a lot faster. But as always with most of these things, the best way to learn is just by playing and catching up with some like-minded folks and playing some kick-ass games. But yeah, that's Ashes Reborn. It is pretty much a ready-to-play deck-building game. There is no TCG. There is no collecting. Each master set is the same as every other master set. Each expansion deck is the same as every other expansion deck out there. So there's no collecting, hoping for that legendary card. There are kick-ass cards in each of these packs, which is awesome. And I know that I'm going to have a lot of fun just crafting the decks. Whether or not I actually get someone to play against, well, that's another story. But the deck building aspect of Ashes Reborn and the dice mechanic, yes, that scares me because of my dice rolling. But at the same time, I think the gameplay and the reactive gameplay in particular really intrigues me. I really like that aspect as well. As I said, similar to Destiny, but I love it. But if you wanted to know what Ashes was all about, hopefully that's given you a bit of an indication of what to expect. We will try and get a bit of a learn to play happening. This is one I actually want to do a bit of a showcase for, so we'll have everyone around and we'll do showcases. If you want to, now that lockdown's finished and it looks like it's not going to be a thing anymore, fingers crossed, touch wood, we're going to start doing showcases again. So if you want me to come out and do a demo to your place somewhere in Melbourne at the moment, currently we're only doing them in Melbourne and Victoria, by all means let us know on the website. Hit us up at orders@hbgaming.com.au and we can arrange to come out and give you a demo of Ashes Reborn. At the same time, we're doing showcases and things for Arkham Horror LCG, Marvel Champions LCG, a host of board games. Dune Imperium is one we're about to start doing as well, along with generic showcases, like a Tupperware party, but for board games. So by all means, get in touch with us about that. As always, folks, if you have any questions, by all means, pop them in the comments below. If you are one of our Patreon subscribers, thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate everything you allow us to keep doing. If you want to join part of the gamer army and become one of our lovely, lovely generals who we love and adore so much, you can jump on board the website on your screen, www.patreon.com/hbgamingau. Get on board, get a host of goodies, and get express deliveries on all your orders as well, which is awesome. Otherwise, folks, if you haven't already, jump on board the website, hbgaming.com.au, and you can grab your copy of Ashes Reborn before they are all gone. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to crack some packs and start building some decks, get back to the table, play more games, and we'll see you back here very soon. Until then, though, it is bye for now.